Imagine a king so wealthy that when he traveled, the price of gold crashed across entire countries. A ruler whose generosity changed the economy of continents. A kingdom larger than many modern nations combined. Yet today, almost nobody talks about it. When people think about the world's greatest empires, they remember Rome. They remember Egypt. They remember China. But hidden beneath the sands of West Africa was an empire so powerful that explorers could hardly believe it existed. This is not a myth. This is not a legend. This is the astonishing story of the Mali Empire, and the richest man who ever lived. Welcome to African Tales Arising. If you're fascinated by forgotten African history, mysterious kingdoms, and legendary rulers, make sure you subscribe because every week we uncover stories the world forgot. Now, let's journey back over 700 years. Long before European explorers reached West Africa. Long before colonial borders divided the continent. West Africa was already alive with powerful kingdoms. Trade routes stretched across the Sahara Desert. Merchants carried salt, gold, ivory, leather, and knowledge. The Sahara was not simply an endless desert, it was a highway connecting Africa with North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Among these trading kingdoms stood a nation called Ghana. Not the modern country, but the ancient Ghana Empire. For centuries, Ghana controlled the gold trade. Its rulers became wealthy beyond imagination. But no empire lasts forever. By the early 1200s, Ghana had fallen. Smaller kingdoms fought to replace it. Chaos spread. Villages burned. Families fled. People wondered whether peace would ever return. Then, a young prince emerged. His name was Sundiata Keita. According to legend, he was born unable to walk. Other children mocked him. Even members of the royal family laughed. They believed he would never become king. But his mother refused to give up hope. One day, determined to stand, young Sundiata grabbed an iron rod. Slowly, painfully, he pulled himself upright. The iron bent beneath his strength. The people watched in amazement. The boy who could not walk was stronger than anyone imagined. It became the first sign that destiny had chosen him. Trouble soon followed. A rival ruler seized power. Sundiata and his family were forced into exile. They wandered from kingdom to kingdom. Years passed. The young prince learned diplomacy, military strategy, leadership, and patience. Meanwhile, his homeland suffered under cruel rule. The people remembered the prophecy. They began searching for the prince who had disappeared. Finally, messengers found him. They begged him to return. Their kingdom needed a leader. Their people needed hope. Sundiata accepted. In 1235, armies gathered. Thousands of warriors stood ready. Spears glittered beneath the African sun. Drums echoed across the plains. The decisive battle would forever change African history. Sundiata faced the feared King Samarkand. Legends claimed Sumaro possessed magical powers. Some believed he could not be defeated. Yet Sundiata had allies. His united army overwhelmed the enemy. When the battle ended, a new empire was born. The Mali Empire. Sundiata understood something remarkable. Conquering land was only the beginning. To build a lasting empire, people needed stability, trade, justice, agriculture. He reorganized government, protected merchants, encouraged farming, strengthened alliances. The empire expanded rapidly. Gold mines poured unimaginable wealth into royal coffers. Caravans crossed the Sahara carrying hundreds of camels, each loaded with valuable goods. Soon, Mali controlled one of the world's richest economies. Gold was everywhere. West Africa produced much of the world's known gold. Merchants traveled thousands of miles hoping to trade with Mali. Markets flourished. Cities expanded. Libraries appeared. Mosques rose across the landscape. Knowledge became just as valuable as wealth. Among these cities, one became legendary. Timbuktu. Today, many people imagine Timbuktu as a remote place. But centuries ago, it was among the greatest centers of learning on earth. Students came from distant lands. Scholars debated mathematics, astronomy, medicine, law, religion. Thousands of handwritten manuscripts filled libraries. Many still survive today. While parts of Europe struggled through the Middle Ages, African scholars were preserving and expanding knowledge. Then came the ruler whose name became legendary. Mansa Musa. When he became emperor around 1312. The empire was already wealthy. But under his leadership, its greatness reached astonishing heights. Historians still consider him the richest individual in history. Some economists argue that his wealth cannot even be accurately calculated today. Imagine possessing so much gold that modern billionaires would appear modest by comparison. In 1324, Mansa Musa began a pilgrimage to Mecca. It was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Some reports describe 60,000 attendants, thousands of soldiers, hundreds of servants, dozens of camels, each camel carrying hundreds of pounds of gold. Every town they visited witnessed unbelievable generosity. Gold was handed to the poor. Officials received gifts. Markets overflowed with wealth. But something unexpected happened. Too much gold entered local economies. Its value dropped dramatically. Inflation spread. Some regions needed years to recover. One man's generosity changed entire economies. News traveled across continents. European mapmakers heard stories of a magnificent African king. In 1375, one famous map showed Mansa Musa seated upon a golden throne, holding a golden nugget. For many Europeans, Mali became the land of unimaginable riches. Explorers dreamed of finding it. Merchants longed to reach it. Its reputation spread farther than ever before. No empire remains powerful forever. After Mansa Musa's death, leadership weakened. Internal conflicts emerged. Trade routes shifted. Neighboring kingdoms challenged Mali's authority. Eventually, the Songhai Empire rose to dominance. Little by little, the Great Mali Empire faded. But its legacy never disappeared. Modern historians continue uncovering forgotten manuscripts. Ancient architecture still stands. Oral traditions preserve incredible stories. The Mali Empire transformed world trade, advanced education, inspired generations, and proof that Africa possessed civilizations equal to any on earth. Its story deserves to be remembered. Not because it was perfect, but because it changed history. The next time someone says Africa had no great civilizations before colonialism, remember Sundiata. Remember Timbuktu. Remember the empire that controlled mountains of gold. Remember the king whose wealth shook entire economies. History is far richer than many of us were ever taught. And perhaps, the greatest stories are the ones that were almost forgotten. If you enjoyed this journey into African history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to African Tales Arising, and share this story with someone who loves discovering the hidden wonders of our world. Until next time, keep seeking the stories that history almost erased.